So what you mean to say is that these frozen embryo children will be undocumented? This may be our solution. We just have to be ready to find out who these people hate more. In the meantime, I have some more malicious compliance ideas. Insurance, specifically life. A lot of people came to this conclusion, and let me just say that I am so happy that we're all here together. But let's not sleep on other types of insurance. The industry is full of money. For example, medical malpractice for any failed implantations, which apparently can be as high as 50% of embryos. And one that I'm even more excited about is wrongful death and general liability insurance. So basically, if you take your cooler of embryos on someone else's property and something happens to them, are they liable? In fact, in Missouri right now, there is a case debating whether or not a fetus can be considered an employee in a wrongful death suit. Speaking of the workplace, what about maternity leave? Obviously, maternity leave is absolutely pathetic by most standards in this country, but it starts to look a little bit better if you're eligible every time fertilization occurs. Obviously, you can't forget child support. 20 embryos will get expensive. Let's get to the fun part. Let's say that I no longer can or am willing to pay storage costs, and I choose to surrender my embryos to the state. You know, they enter the system. It sounds like those storage costs are now on the state. Of course, if the state doesn't want to pay for them anymore, then they can choose not to, but I believe that that's what the GOP calls death panels. Alternatively, because the priority is always reunification, I do believe that that means that the government would be more than happy to hand those embryos back over once you're ready for them. You're telling me that the state of Alabama is now volunteering taxpayer-funded healthcare costs to ovulators? In fact, if enough of us surrender our embryos to the state of Alabama, I'm pretty sure we could bankrupt it. If that's not enough of a bright side, just consider the economic opportunity here, because now is the time to invest in frozen storage solutions. Just think, in a generation or two, people are going to be walking around at the same time as their great aunts and uncles, who will be frozen. In fact, there could be embryos with no living parents on this earth already. Guess we're stuck footing that bill in perpetuity. On a more serious note, multiple IVF facilities are already shutting down and pausing operations in Alabama. This is not just terrible news. It brings me absolutely no pleasure to say this, because real people are being harmed, and this is scary. But I have to assume that there is at least some form of lesson being learned right now by big family conservatives. Sounds like some quivers will not be quite as full in Alabama. FAFO.